Good evening. This is Chairman Mike McCoo of the Wellington Board of Finance calling to order the special budget meeting of Thursday, March 24th at 7:05 p.m. I do not see Pete Tanaka unless he's in on one of the devices that doesn't have a name. Pete Tanaka, are you here? Hello? Pete, is that you on the iPhone? All right, Pete Tanaka, if that's you on the iPhone, your sound is not coming through. I heard you unmute, but we're not getting anything. All right, so until we know we've got Pete here, I'll entertain a motion to seat Jim for Pete Tanaka.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jeff. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. Stephanie,
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Oh, yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
and me, yes. Jim, you are seated for Pete Tanaka. If he appears, then he will automatically take his seat.
Got it. I'm on board.
Thank you. Okay. Present to speak. Oh, I see Pete Tanaka. Stand by.
Pete Latensix.
Yeah, I see Pete Tanaka also. We got, it's like Mike's. There are a bunch of Pete's. Okay, so the iPhone, that's Pete Latensix. Thank you. Now we know that. Pete Tanaka, are you on board?
I'm getting there slowly but slowly. This computer's a little old.
Okay, we had
Can
seated
you hear
Jim.
me?
Yes, we had seated Jim for you, but now that you're here,
All right, I'm sorry I'm late. I was having some personal difficulties. Thank you.
all right. All right, so we're at present to speak. Public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain quorum. Those who would like to speak, if you're in video, wave your hand. We'll call on you. And then we'll go to the non-videos next. And please be patient because I have 2 pages. All right, Suzanne Chapman.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Chapman. I've been a resident of Wellington since 1987 and have worked for the town and the Board of Education, both as an employee and an elected official. I currently serve as Registrar of Voters. I'm commenting tonight solely as an individual, not as a member of any group or political party. I have a fairly clear understanding of how the town operates financially. Every year, the Board of Finance requests that department heads submit budget proposals outlining what they need to efficiently and responsibly operate. The departments comply. They attend meetings, defend their budgets, explain their requests, and outline the importance of what they're asking for. Then we start to hear the same old things. The faces at the tables change, but the words never do. They're the same. Keep spending flat. We can't afford it. Put it in CIP, keep mill rate flat. Residents on fixed incomes can't pay. We can't raise taxes this year because there's a pandemic, the economy's bad, inflation, war, pick a reason. There's always something. This town does not value its assets. There isn't a town-owned building that is not in need of repair. I know, I've worked in them. A short time ago, we held a meeting of the town and county registrar of voters in the town office building. I was embarrassed by our facility. Its condition clearly shows our lack of interest in taking care of what we have. From the dirty floors to the warped and chipped tables, it's obvious we don't care. The town's biggest and most undervalued asset is its employees. This becomes glaringly obvious every year at budget season when experienced, qualified people are asked for what they need and slapped down time and time again. Always trying to find a cheap way out, a Band-Aid to fix things for now. A prime example is a difficulty that we have had finding and keeping a qualified assessor. Without a strong and well-functioning assessors and revenue collectors office, what do we have? No taxes assessed equals no taxes collected. I urge you to properly fund these offices. Our largest block of voters at elections and referendum are 50 to 80 years old. They vote for us and they vote for our budgets. Our budgets pass 2-to-1. Our collection rate on taxes levied versus revenue collected is consistently in the high 90th percentile, consistently, even in years when there's a mill rate increase. I believe in fiscal responsibility and a conservative approach to spending. I tend to approach things from a logical point of view. Cutting budgets based on a dollar amount or percentage without examining the detail presented in each line item, in my opinion, is not logical. I want Wellington to prosper and thrive. I implore you to listen to the people that work for you. This town cannot continue to function and thrive unless it is properly funded. Value your assets, value your staff, submit a budget that is what we need to thrive, and let the voters decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else in video? Pete Latinchitz, I saw you, and then Robin, I do see your hand up, but I saw Pete before.
Good evening, Peter Latinchitz, 97 Trask Road. I have been a resident of Wellington for 30 plus years. I've served on the Board of Finance, Board of Education, Planning and Zoning, Capital Improvement Committee, and various other committees. I wanted to comment tonight, even before the public hearing, which is coming, that I was pleased to see the Board of Finance recognize that this 2 mil increase we see currently in the budget as it stands, a 10% increase in spending, not a cut at all, but in fact, a substantial increase over even the inflationary increases that we're seeing that are buffeting the nation and our state and town. I attended the Selectmen's meeting and I was pleased to see Selectman Bulick attempt to respond to your direction from the last Board of Finance meeting. Unfortunately, the majority on the Board of Selectmen did not agree and essentially are saying that these are the services they feel that should be funded, and there will be no effort to work in any way to find a common middle ground. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what I'm hearing as a very shrill and consistent message from many quarters that our town is underfunded, that past administrations didn't fund the town properly. Somehow as a community, we were derelict for decades. This is not true. Our town has done an outstanding job of meeting our obligations and providing people with a reasonable tax bill. And I encourage you to do that tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robin Campbell?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Robin Campbell. I live on 33 Spack Road, and I'm also an employee of the town of Wellington. I serve the town as the town clerk, in which I am very honored to serve our town. I wanted to touch base on the current budget that has been submitted by the Board of Selectmen. I truly believe the selectmen have put much thought into putting forth a good and true budget for this year. Selectman Boris said it best at their meeting this past Monday, that there really isn't much that they can cut. And she also said that they've cut so many necessary expenses over the years based on the recommendation of the Board of Finance, where those cuts have ended up costing us more in the end. Suzanne Chapman also said it very well just a few minutes ago, that our employees are our biggest asset. And we sometimes do not feel valued when in this situation. All of us that work in the town of the office building, our jobs are set by statute. And it seems as though every year the state adds more and more unplanned and unfunded mandates in which we have to put into our budgets. And we have to cut and somehow work among it. And it's very difficult. Lastly, I just wanted to say I do appreciate all the work that the Board of Finance and all of our other boards and commissions do. I respect everything that you do, and I know you all put a hard work into every decision you make. But I respectfully request that you put forth a budget that has been submitted and let the residents decide. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Other people in video, wave your hand or raise your little yellow hand, and then we'll move on. Janice Clausen.
Janice Clausen, Revenue Collector for the town of Wellington. I understand that a lot of members have an issue with the requested budget increase for the position of Revenue Collector. Part of it, I believe, is a contracted raise that was in my contract when I was hired, that I get a 2% increase when I complete my certification courses, which I've done. And when I'm actually sworn in with that certification, that 2% should come into play. I believe that's part of what has been included.
She frozen.
Yeah, Janice, can you hear us? You're frozen on, oh, there you go. You just came back.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
Right after you said that you believed the 2% was included in what was proposed, you froze at that point.
Right, so the other another portion of that is what was a placeholder for what the union contract was going to do. I do not know. Erica would know better on that. Also,
Shoot.
head is actually earning, and it should be rectified. What I'm asking for, and what I would ask for any person in this position, is that they are paid a fair wage compared to other like towns. Some towns like ours are smaller than Wellington.
We lost you again, Janice.
$65,000, $70,000. But the point is, the position has been underfunded for many years, and I think something needs to be done about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We lost you a couple moments in there, but I think we got the gist of what you were saying. Thank you. Anybody else in video, wave your hand. If you are not in video, feel free to unmute your phone or computer and call out your name. Okay, I don't think I'm seeing anyone. Okay. All right, next, old business, number 1, ARPA process. Christina, you want to give us a quick update on where ARPA is at this point?
Yes, so we had our very first public hearing on Monday evening. And at that meeting, we presented the first batch of projects that were sort of pushed to the top of the line because they had time-sensitive deadlines, because they either impacted the budget in some way or CIP, or there was a vendor saying that we had to purchase it by a certain date to get a certain deal. So those projects were presented, and then we got public comment on them. And then the commission went ahead and voted to approve. I should look at my list of them and tell you exactly what they are. And how many there were. I think it was 6 of them. And at this point now, we are going to have our next meeting on April 4th. We have another batch of projects that have come in that have been submitted. And so the commission's going to need to hear those and decide which ones get moved to a public hearing. We're probably going to be having another public hearing at the end of April in order to talk about several of these, as they seem to have some budget impacts as well. So, or at least a few of them do. So that is where we're at with ARPA. So far, of the $1,735,454.22. $1,036,500 has been appropriated. And there's $698,954 remaining. And there's actually probably a little bit more than that because of the things that have already been approved. Some of the costs have kind of come in less. And so at the end, we're probably going to have some other funds that we'll be able to move back into the pot. So that's where we're at. There's probably about 300,000 that is still hasn't, even if we were to approve all things requested, there's still about 300,000 left. So so we're still accepting more projects.
Okay. Any board questions or comments about ARPA? All right. Then let's move on to Moose Meadow Road repairs. Erica, is that you or Troy?
I'll start and then I'll leave any specific questions on the project you have. Troy can chime in. So I came to you last week to discuss the 3,900 feet of road repair that needed to be done on Moose Meadow Road. And at that point gave you a total project cost of just over $298,000. And we had discussed a contingency, especially with the ever-changing rising cost of items. So that brings us, if we used a 15% contingency, we'd be looking at about $343,000. We still have not seen a third vendor. Troy had given us 2 quotes from 2 state-approved vendors. If you recall, one was a fixed cost and one was estimated cost based on tonnage. So the Board of Selectmen agreed or voted to have me request the funding from the Board of Finance based on the state-approved vendor with a fixed cost. We did not approve a vendor. We would wait until after we have an actual appropriation to take that step. But again, it's repaving some reclamation of 3,900 feet, and then about 500 feet of under drain that needs to be installed. And with that is some catch basin repair and replacements. So it's adding 3 new catch basins in there and repairing several others. So Public Works will do the drainage portion. There's also guardrail that needs to be replaced once they go in to do the under drain. The guardrail that is in place has to come out, and it is out of code, so we cannot put that kind of guardrail back in. So there'll be new metal guardrail, and that certainly adds to the cost of the project. So the total cost I'm asking you for is at least $343,000, and that's paving, renting an excavator, stone catch basins, guardrail, and pipe to complete the project.
Okay. Troy, do you want to chime in anything after that?
No, I think Erica pretty much covered everything. There is some culverts that need to be replaced, along with the 500 feet of under drain. There's going to be 60 feet of 24-inch pipe, 60 feet of 18-inch pipe, and 60 feet of 15-inch pipe. And there'll be 9 catch basin tops that will be replaced, about 387 feet of guardrail. And it's actually a little bit longer than the 3,900 feet. 3,900 feet was to be reclaimed, and there was 1,400 feet that will have an 1.5 inch overlay to complete the whole road, instead of just doing a section and then skipping it and going to the next section. So it will be blended in.
Okay. Board members, any questions, comments?
Is, what I didn't understand is it 343,000 plus the guardrails, the drainage and everything else, or is that
Everything.
all inclusive? Okay. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Jeff?
Was it that hard to find a third contract, a third quote, third contractor? I mean,
No, I met with somebody and he should be getting a quote within the next, he said by the end of next week, he'll have a quote for us. I met with him yesterday, matter of fact.
okay. I mean, this is Moose Meadow Road. I mean, kind of know where I'm going with this.
What are you saying? What are you saying, Jeff?
No, I mean, it just seemed like in the last meeting it was kind of hard to find a third contractor, and there happened to be one on that road. That's all.
No, it wasn't, Jeff. It wasn't that there was hard time finding. He had brought us 2. The selectman asked for a third. Troy set a meeting with a contractor, and he actually was on vacation. So upon returning, he met with that contractor, and we just haven't received the quote yet. Which is one more reason the selectmen have not chosen a vendor. One, we don't have funds appropriated, and certainly if it comes in much less, we'd be taking a different look. We wouldn't use all of the money you would potentially appropriate.
And I also asked that contractor that lives on that road, and he said the job was too big for him to do. So that's a phone call was made to that contractor.
Any other board comments? All right, I'm going to get a motion started for discussion. I move that the Board of Finance recommends to the Board of Selectmen to call a town meeting to appropriate $350,000 from capital reserve for the purpose of repairs to Moose Meadow Road.
Second.
Okay, discussion on the motion. Pete.
Yeah, 350,000 from capital reserve. I believe the reason we have that money there is because we're not doing the roofs on the schools. So that money is gonna have to be replaced at some point.
That is part of the reason that capital reserve is the size it is right now, because that money was backed out of that project.
All right, I think at some point we're gonna have to do roofs. So that money is gonna have to be replaced. Using this year's capital reserve and not budgeting is problematic to me. And what I'd like to do is are we gonna get this job contracted before July 1st? Is that the idea?
That's what was shared with me. The intent was to be able to get moving right away.
All right.
But we're not
Thank
into all school bus season and all that.
Can I make a comment? With the 200, and I apologize, I don't have that budget number in my head. I believe we have roughly $243,000 in the public works budget for road maintenance for the year. A very small portion of this road was to be worked on within those dollar amounts. But as you can see, $350,000 is what we need to take care of the damaged portion of that road. And if we're going to do that, we're going to fix the drainage issue. So, I know you all are concerned about the size of the budget. If the Board of Selectmen were to increase our road maintenance budget by $350,000, you'd be looking at a much more intense situation, in my opinion. Certainly, had we, had this damage occurred, we would be earlier in the process. We would have may have taken a different route.
Mike?
Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Erica, entirely. I really do, and don't see this as confrontational. But I'd like to see it budgeted someplace so that we're not just grabbing money from here and there. That's all. Even if we put the $350,000 in this year's budget into the or this coming budget into the contingency fund from the Board of Finance to spend, it would increase the budget. And I understand increasing the budget's not where we want to go on this, but at some point we're going to have to replace that money. That's all I'm saying, is that we can't just grab it and go. We should be budgeting.
Pete, maybe an ideas as we move into this fall. It's already, I hate to say it, but we're only a few months away from CIP season again. Maybe we should be coming up with some sort of a fund that we're putting some money in every year for these kind of things. And I know that's kind of what capital reserve is, but maybe we should identify something looking at long-range plans like that. And CIP has talked about developing greater than a 5-year plan, something that's 10 years that looks at some of these things. So maybe that's a good place to start doing that.
Or like if a Love's truck decides to drive up Schofield or Village Hill.
Yeah.
With all due respect to that stuff, I don't want us to completely disparage Love's. This was not the owners of Love's truck stop. This was a third-party vendor that
Constructor.
didn't do it, and our road had some deficiencies there, which led to that. So I just want us to be cautious about.
I'm sorry,
about
with
anything.
the cheap shot, you're right.
Okay,
You
Christina.
know, whatever we need to do to get the other ones that have been waiting for 30 years to get fixed.
And if I can remind you all.
Hang on. You guys have got to let me identify people who are asking to speak. Christina.
It just occurred to me, why wouldn't we take the funds just from the general fund?
It was on recommendation. And her feeling was that it was because the fund, the long range forecast on the capital reserve could handle this. We would not have to readjust the forecast for a few years. She thought that that was a better place to allow slowly replenishing it, because if we took it from the general fund, it would alter our reserve percentages that we're kind of trying to shoot for a goal for reserve that we keep in the general fund when we're doing the magic spreadsheet later tonight.
Right.
That was just her direction.
Yeah, it's just in my mind, it's just easier math to think about, okay, just take away 350,000 from what is in there now. But I see what you're saying. If there's the funds there, but also Pete's right. At some point, we're going to need to do something about the roofs, which maybe that'll be rolled into the overall project, whatever ends up getting done. But either way, we're going to need funds. We're going to a lot for all these things. So all right, that makes sense though.
And depending what the school committee decides to do and what the taxpayers approve, then there could be a lot of other rollout costs, you know, whether there's, if the decision is to abandon one or both of those schools for a different location, there could be costs of getting out or repurposing those buildings. There's a lot of work for CIP to do over the next few years. Anybody else? Discussion on the motion? Erica.
So just want to, I know I hear Peter's concerns and I don't disagree with them. And I'll just remind you that in CIP, there is funding for a pavement management software that will give us some data as we move to take a look at long-term road projects and see where we stand and help us in further budgeting some of these larger projects.
Any other discussion on the motion?
No, you were asking about that number, Erica. I think it's 25,000, right? More, I mean, that we, the road maintenance line.
Yeah, I have, it's not 25,000. It's made up of a couple line stuff. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's I said 243, it's $283,157.
Any more discussion on the motion? Kelsey, are you ready to call the vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay,
Jeff,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Mike.
yes.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda, old business item 3, budget discussion continued. I would like to make a comment. Some of the concern I've heard over the last week, starting with the last meeting, and then I've heard, some through the grapevine and some more officially over the last week, and then again tonight in present to speak. That some of that rings true to me, having been on the other side of the table many times over 25 years or so, presenting budgets to the Board of Finance. I understand what it feels like on the other side and feeling like the things you need and have made a responsible decision to ask for are not always being respected. I do understand that. And I hope that anybody who's submitting a budget knows that we sometimes are put in the tough position of saying no to things that we actually do want to do. Hopefully, as much as possible, we can say yes. The budget as it came into us would have created a 2.2 mil increase, I believe, at least at what was presented. And for someone like me, that's probably somewhere between $650 and $700 in the taxes going up on my house. And I made a remark, I think last year during this same meeting, and I made sort of a quip and I said, people who can afford, I think I said $6,000 for taxes on their home can afford another $100. And I caught a lot of flack at the end of that meeting in present to speak from people saying that that was arrogant of me to assume that just because I could afford another $100 on my taxes, that other people could afford $100 on their taxes. And I took that point. So it is a delicate balance, but I think everyone on the board, certainly myself, and I think the feeling I get from members of this board is that we understand we have to grow. And that we do have a responsibility to all of these resources. The most important resources being the people that the town employs, and other resources being our infrastructure or our services, our programs. We do have to place great value in those things, and we do have to grow them. If we grow them too slowly, then we have a big hill to climb the next year. If we grow them too quickly, then we're too far up on the hill maybe next year. And that's always hard for us to figure out. So we're doing, in my mind, we're doing the best we can. A lot of us here are also on CIP, and we had increased CIP just before the pandemic. It got pulled back for good reason. We again, going into this year, increased the CIP again because we do believe we need to grow responsibly. And unfortunately, we made a suggestion last week to cut back what some of us had helped build because of this 2.2 mil increase. So I just want people to know that from my point of view, and I think the feeling I get from a lot of board members is we do value all these things, and these are tough decisions, and we don't want to be the people who say no, but we signed on to be on this board to make responsible decisions. And I just hope we're doing, we won't always know till 10 years or never, but I hope we're doing a good job of that. Thank you for the opportunity to make that speech. In that light, the board did solicit a bunch of questions over the last week from some of our contributing budget departments. We got excellent response. All the departments responded back, answered our questions. It's been sent out to the boards. So I think we've made a good effort to try to get the answers we need. So I'd like to get into, if people want to review any of those questions, or if we want to get started into some discussion. And then when we're done discussing, we'll move into allocations, hopefully. Or appropriations, depending on who you are and how you say it. So,
Do you think, Mike, for those attending, that could you recap kind of what some of the key responses were maybe?
sure, hang on just a second. Let me move my screens around so I can see them. Okay, so we sent questions to the library, and those were, please confirm the staffing plan is still to have 2 co-directors. The answer is yes. Number 2, do we understand that one or both of the directors will be accessing the town health plan? The answer was hopefully to some degree. And question 3 was, have you accommodated both minimum wage increases for fiscal year 23 in your request? And the answer was yes. Any questions on those? Board members, anything there? Okay, hang on, let's get to the next one. The next person who responded was Chief Moore from Wellington Fire Department number 1. Provide an update on the IRS status. And the answer was being worked, appears to be an oversight is being worked on with our accountant. Second question was, please let us know if your board decided to report on the exact revenue from the cell phone tower. The answer was the cell tower generates $45,000 in revenue. Of that, $30,000 is turned over to help with payroll. Unlike other organizations that rely mainly on taxpayer funding, the administration of Wellington Fire Department believes taxpayer dollars should be spent on the intended purpose. In our case, all the public funding is dedicated to the core mission, which is emergency services. And the remaining tower funds are allocated to things like annual meeting dinner and awards, annual Christmas dinner for members, t-shirts, sweatshirts, dress uniforms for members, cable TV for the main firehouse, maintenance and insurance for chief's vehicle, new furniture, etc. for both stations, community award for 8th grade graduation, sponsorship of local baseball teams, fire department softball team. And question 3 was, please indicate when town of Union will provide the funding that you have reported and where it will be accounted for. The answer was, we have received the check from Union. This must be used for payroll. We're hopeful that it will be used to offset the increase for next fiscal year. So those are the fire department responses. Anything on that from the board? All right, moving on to the next one. For rec, we sent the following questions. Has your budget request been adjusted to accommodate the expected union raises? Answer is, when I created the budget, I left the rec director wages, assistant director wages, and payroll taxes blank because I was not sure the numbers. I knew Donna would input the correct figures. I had a conversation with her last week. She explained to me the system and how it affects me. So I believe that Donna did include those adjustments, but I cannot be 100% certain. Just to follow up my comment on this is I do believe that is correct, that Donna inserted those into their budget. And then his answer to that question 2 was, do you have both minimum wage increases for fiscal year 23 included? His answer, minimum wage increases were factored into the lifeguard wages and summer camp wages, although I used the same number for lifeguard wages as last year's budget. I'm altering the number of hours that the pond is open. This will compensate. So in other words, the budget number is the same because the hours will be slightly less, which will make up the difference for the slightly more per hour. So those were the rec questions. Any board discussion, comment on those? All right, I think I had one more. Yes, so we had a couple questions for Public Works. Question one, salt increase, is that due to tonnage increase, price increase, treated versus straight salt, or all three? The answer from Troy was the current salt purchasing is comprised of both road salt and treated salt. The cost of treated salt is currently $88 a ton, up from $65 a ton last year, and road salt is now $78 a ton versus $55 last year. The current request is based on a 5-year average in tonnage using the current cost. Question number two. The excavator is in CIP. Can you drop the rental out of your budget request? His answer is the current budget does not have funding for a rental. I look back, I don't see it. I think that was an error somewhere along the way, maybe. Maybe we were looking at an old budget by mistake, but I don't see it now anyway. So I think it's cleared up. Question three, staffing. Former technician was promoted. The refill of that is a laborer, question mark. Troy's answer is in fiscal year 2021, we had a technician laborer position. The position became vacant and we were unable to fill it. We hired a staff member as a laborer for the 21-22 fiscal year. Now the current public works staff makeup is 1 crew leader, 1 equipment operator, 1 driver, 1 laborer, and 1 part-time laborer, who is the part-time transfer station operator. We have budgeted for 1 crew leader, 1 equipment operator, 2 drivers, 1 part-time laborer. And of course, he said happy to be discussed further when necessary. So it's the same, number, it's 5, but it's instead of having the 3rd and 4th being a driver and laborer, it's now 2 drivers. So I believe that's the only difference as I'm understanding it. So those were our follow-up questions and the answers. Any board discussion on that one? Okay.
Just nice to see, see all that, and actually from some of the quasi private, if you will, organizations in town, like the fire department, to show how they get revenue, other types of revenue besides from the taxpayer. That was nice to see.
Yeah, I think so too. It was good to get some questions answered and have some better understanding. And I appreciate everybody who quickly answered me. Most of those answers were back within 24 hours or less, which is really awesome. Okay, any more budget discussion? Pete.
Yeah, Mike, if I may make a suggestion.
Yes.
Did we go to the budget appropriation part, the budget motions? What I'd like to,
go ahead.
what I'd like to do with the budget motions is to make the motion. If there's no discussion, vote on it. If there is discussion, move it to the end. And that way we can, I think, reading the room and from past experience, I think we could probably move 80% of these or more and get them off of our table so that we don't have to deal with them anymore. And then we can deal with the last bunch at the end and if there's anything contentious.
So the good news for you is the way the questions are arranged, at least at the beginning anyway. They start off pretty easy with the miscellaneous budgets. Hopefully we can get some mojo going there, get some momentum. I would be fine if we get really mired into a discussion on something to table it till later in the meeting and move on, and then we could come back to it. Would that work for you?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I do think we should be trying to move these along, however.
Yes, and I would note that we really should try to complete this tonight if at all possible, because we have a deadline to make the proper newspaper notifications. We really should not go past tonight if there's any way we can avoid it. So let's hope we have the spirit of consensus here. Stephanie?
Yeah, could you recap, where we are in terms of the discussion we had last week, where that places us on mill rate and other, use of fund balance and anything else? And then also, what unknowns are there in the budget to the Board of Finance? Are there, what other X factors are there that we should be mindful of?
Well, I'm hoping on that question, I'm hoping we've worked most of them out now, unless there's something specific you're thinking of. There were a lot of small adjustments over the last few weeks as fuel prices came in, having to create the placeholder for the contract. Is there something in particular you're thinking of that you're
No,
considering?
I was thinking primarily of fuel and if just because we can't see actual numbers, if we've got the union contract numbers pinned down in such a way that that they're entirely reliable the way they are in there now.
Yeah, Erica's nodding.
Sure.
Yes.
It's hard to not be able to do
It
the
is.
math
It is,
yourself.
Steph. It is for sure. So I will tell you that the placeholders we've used for the salaries accurately reflect the spirit of the negotiations we had. And although we've had a holdup on the actual contract, that has not been one of the matters of contention. So I don't assume anything about that would change. So I don't see anything changing about the salaries. They are accurately reflected. I just can't tell you what makes up that number. And then fuel prices, we did lock in, so we don't anticipate. And that's why we both, Superintendent Stevens and I, gave you all real numbers even before our boards had voted on it. We thought it was important that you had accurate numbers since there was such an increase. So those should be, you should be confident that those are known values.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, so to your first question, Stephanie, if we can see where we were from last week, I think Erica is prepared to share the magic spreadsheet. Is that true, Erica? Look at that. Okay, so I think, now is this the one that has the couple of adjustments we played with last week, or is this starting back at zero, at fresh? Okay, so if you scroll down, then we're probably going to see the 2.2 mil still.
Yes, this Donna didn't save any of yours. If I recall, you were saying, let's just play with it to see what it would
Right.
look like.
Okay, I just wanted to know where we were starting from.
Yeah.
So yeah, scroll down a little more. I think we're going to see the mill.
Yeah. Almost two, yeah.
Okay, yes, almost two. That's right. Earlier we had 2.2 because revenue numbers updated after that, which got us down to 1.94. Okay, so
That's another factor, I suppose. Are we finished with revenue adjustments in this budget?
revenue adjustments will continue to happen until after the close of the fiscal year, but they will not be major. They will not be significant. Donna's got a pretty good forecast on what they are. They will certainly vary, maybe a few $1,000s. Part of it is certain departments may finish out the year without quite expending everything in their budget. So there may be rollbacks. It could be $20 here, $1,000 there. None of those things will be known until the books are closed, probably the late July. Or August, as Erica says. But this should be close. Okay, so let's go back to what we talked about last week. One of these, I think, is timely because it was part of our discussion. It was commented on present to speak tonight. And we had talked about the collector, the revenue collector and the increase in the revenue collector's budget in the salary. And I'm gonna go to my printed pages here.
Mike, would you like me to share the detailed budget?
If members want to, that's fine. If it's not too big a deal for you to be switching back and forth.
Nope, not at all. I'm gonna stop share and then start again.
Okay. So for those of you scanning your paperwork, this is Department 0137.
Just tell me if you need, if it needs to be zoomed. I see it very different than you do.
Okay, I can see it fine. Okay, so that's the line that's highlighted right there. I know that we had talked about this last week. We had plugged a different number in here. And if I remember, I'm trying to remember things in my head. I think we took 5,339 out of it. Is that what we did? Which made it a 10% raise instead of a 22.8% raise. Erica, are you adjustments? In the Board of Finance adjustment column on the other sheet?
Can you see this
No,
line?
we're seeing the department
The
budget.
detail? Okay,
Fine.
so
That's
I have
fine.
to, in order to go back and forth, I have to stop sharing and start again.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I wish it were simpler. I thought it would be.
Okay, so if you want to go to the magic spreadsheet, that's fine.
And I don't mind going back and forth. You just tell me which one you want.
All right, so can you try in revenue collector in the column F, if you could type in -5339? I'm not sure that was the number. Okay. Hang on, I'm gonna do some math. So that leaves us at 89,608. I apologize for the delay here. I'm doing calculator work, which is taxing for me.
Mike, you come from an entire family of accountants.
You notice I'm not one of them though, right?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Mike's defense is only two, not the entire family.
But
Those outliers.
they're prominent.
Mike, if you were looking for that salary to be 10%, that is correct.
Okay, yeah, I just calculator too. Okay. So so that was the number we had used last week. I think I understand the methodology that was used, and actually I had the opportunity to talk with Erica this week to better understand some of the questions we had about how the budget was constructed. And I do understand how this 22.8% raise came about. I just think, similar to what we've done in past years with registrars of voters and other departments, when they've come in with a big adjustment and a good justification for it, we've said we just can't do that much in 1 year. And I feel like 23% raise, I know part of that is an adjustment to make it more fair, so I understand it's not just 23%. Like a bonus or something. I understand that. I'm just not sure that a 23% raise for anybody is something that I would want to go without discussion. So what are other board members' feelings about that number?
I'm glad you brought this up, Mike, and I agree with all the numbers that you just put in.
Okay, well, that was just one. Okay, what else did we talk about last week? I think we had adjusted the capital with the dump truck.
Yeah.
Do we remember what the split was? We did that. I think the dump truck was originally budgeted at 225. And did we cut 100 and keep 125 in, or did we cut 125 and keep 100 in? Do we remember?
I think we cut 100 and kept 125 in.
That sounds
But
right.
you know, I'm trying to find my notes because I did write it down somewhere. I didn't realize that was going to be erased, or I would have put it somewhere.
The thought process with that was that it would be funding essentially half, a little more than half, but it'd be funding half of the dump truck in this budget. And then the other half would come in next year. And so it would push the dump truck out 1 year, but it wouldn't completely defund it.
Right, Christina, you might remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I don't remember if we cut 100 or 125.
I think we cut the 100 and left 125 in.
That's what I think too. So I guess
Yeah.
if three of us or all of us think that, then that's probably what it was.
Right, so that adjustment shows in,
So Mike, I switched screens to show
Yep,
you here.
yep.
That, because that was an off budget item and that was going to be paid for with reserve money. Are you saying you want to cut how much money you were putting into the capital
Yes.
reserve?
yes, I think the idea was we were gonna cut 100 out of the capital reserve, because that would directly affect taxation.
So it'd be 245, 923.
There you go.
But if memory serves, that was not off budget, was it?
Well,
Oh, you mean it was in reserve? Okay.
yes, it makes it on, it makes
was a
it on
cash
budget.
purchase. Yeah.
Yes, it makes it on budget by reducing the amount we transfer to capital reserve. That's how it becomes on.
Gotcha.
So by the adjustment that Erica just made, changes our bottom line now, which affects taxation, obviously. What else did we do?
Mike, can I make a comment about the fire department budget real quick?
Yes,
Sorry, it's still the old number before the fuel changes for Wellington 1 that we sent you.
okay.
Once they locked in the prices that we were given by Donna changed that overall number. I had sent you the revised.
Yeah, yep, you did send the revised. Is that because that shows in the public works budget, Erica?
No, the change for us is with fuel oil. So that affects, that goes on our
okay.
budget.
Oh,
So
yes.
it should be 152,010. And that's with the fuel changes.
Thank you for pointing that out.
How much,
Thank
what
you.
did you say, Alex? 152?
010.
So $2,400?
Yes.
Look, I'm no Don. I'm doing the best I can. Bear with me.
Okay. Board members, what else? I know we had more, well, let's scroll down and see where we are, but I know we had more adjustments. So we're at a 1.72 mil now. Change.
Had we
Okay,
played with the transfer out of the general fund?
let's see.
Thought we might have, but
I don't think so. No, we hadn't done that yet. We hadn't done that yet. I think we still had 355, yeah, 230. That's the number that Donna's been working with.
I thought we did actually, Mike.
well, we
Why
had
did I
we
thi-
talked
wh-
about what would bring us to the the between 8 and 12% thing.
I felt like it was 600 or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, okay, maybe that was it. And then, okay,
Maybe add in 150 or 135 to see what that does.
I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just, I know we talked about it.
Yeah, I guess it just matters what percentage we're at in the fund balance after we do that. And I think we had a little space there to do that.
we did have some space, yep.
Listen, I'm a poor man's Donna, but according to her forecast she gave you, if you took 500,000 in appropriation, that would leave you with 10.3%.
Right, so that's basically where we are, is 10.3, yep. And so that's the halfway mark in our 8 to 12 range that we want to stay in. So that seems like a good place to be. So we're down to 1.4 mil. I feel like we did a little more though.
We did because we were down to,
We did it, didn't we adjust, we applied some money from Fund 17, go back up to ambulance salary. What number is in there right now? 591, so we dropped that by 50,000 by taking it out of Fund 17.
right.
All right, now where are we?
Right.
131. I thought we had gotten down to 1.16, so I'm not sure where else we got that from. Or maybe I'm misremembering it. Does anybody remember
Oh,
anything?
that's what I remember it being too, 31.16, right?
Yeah, it was like 31.15, which was a 1.16 mil increase.
And we talked about
I
the
thought the numbers that we had-
too.
What's that?
Talking about taking the ambulance out.
Right, that was the 50,000, that's right. So it was that's where that 50,000 came from, because we were pushing the ambulance out, because it was a $50,000 a year payment on the ambulance in CIP from Fund 17. That was where that 50 came from. But that doesn't change where we are now.
Mike, where would you apply that 13,000 that we got for union? Would that go?
That's a good question. Where, so you guys got the check. If it was made out to you guys, you would probably have to cash it, and then we'd have to figure out how to apply it, right?
Well, it'd be no different than what the 30,000 we hand over now. So we hand over 30,000 from
your funds,
Correct.
the tower money, right?
Correct. So it's no different from that.
So basically what you would you want, do you have it now? Do you want to apply it into well, I guess it wouldn't make sense to apply it into the current year we're in right now, would it?
No, I would ask that you apply it to this upcoming year if we can.
Okay, so you'd have to cash the check, but you could essentially pull the money and then transfer it after July 1.
However they want to do it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Donna question on how to make it happen.
But if it helps apply towards
Okay.
that number.
So Erica, can you change that to 63? It was 13,000, right, Alex?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a one-time thing or is this gonna be an ongoing?
We don't know. We're still working with them on that.
Hmm.
This is what we've gotten so far. We're trying.
It's summer.
I would congratulate you on that excellent effort.
Yeah.
All right, where's our bottom line now? We're creeping closer. All right, board
can I-
members, where do we want to be here?
Can I ask Eric about the insurance line, how many placeholders it is? And if maybe,
It is one placeholder.
okay,
It is a 0% increase, so there is, and in prior years, there's been some money, and I would feel more comfortable in a different year offering up that placeholder because when and if we can get it lower, there's usually a buffer. There's nothing there unless we had a massive change in census.
yeah.
Yeah, and with staff turnover and all that, there's certainly a chance you're going to need that placeholder.
Correct. If we hadn't budgeted at 0, I would say I feel comfortable with that. But
That makes sense. That just reminded me of the library too, because I know that was a question with their budget and I don't think that was changed from what we saw. So I don't think that they have put in theirs. I might be wrong. I didn't think to ask that, Mike, when you were asking us for questions, but that might be low. I don't know. Does anybody know? Erica, do you know?
you mean if Donna accounted for that placeholder?
Yeah.
I'm not sure of within their budget. I don't see the breakdown of the line items in their budget.
Yeah.
Donna has that. I don't know if there's anyone from the library on this call. I stopped sharing so that I could. I just wanted to be sure. I'm pretty sure this one. Yeah, this just has even here, you just see $1 amount. So I don't have the breakdown of this number. Does this match their request? And I would say if you all recall, if they told you they budgeted for an insurance, otherwise.
Yeah.
I know the percentage is right. I mean, I think I remember they put it in for 8.7 more.
I don't know.
Okay. Christina, did you get as close to an answer as you could on that?
Yeah, I think it is what it is. It just made me think that we might,
Okay.
of all the different places where insurance sort of is and where we're at risk,
Yeah.
but we're probably all in all, okay, so.
Okay. Erica, can you scroll back up? Okay, the 63, that should be a minus 63.
That will help.
That's gonna make a difference. Okay, look at that. All right. So we're down to 1.3 increase. Okay. So we had been using a average in some of the planning, we had used an average $200,000 house, right?
200,000 assessed, yeah.
Assessed, right. Oh, silly me, I just did the number wrong. So that's a $258 increase, if my math is right.
Okay, if we're at the, if we are trying to get it down to a, you know, a clean mill, there, we're kind of to a nipping and tucking stage. You know, I mean, I have an idea, but it's, I don't know if it would fly. It's not great. And first, I just want to say I'm sorry that our Public Works Director is going away. I think he was doing some good work for the town.
We'll talk about that in good and welfare also.
Okay. But do we need a raise in this budget for the director? Which is 3,700.
Are you saying if he's leaving, do we back it out, or is
If
that?
you have a new person in that, are you going to have a raise in the first year? Is my question.
Erica?
And I don't know what protocol is.
So my 2 cents is our Public Works Director is leaving us for a job where he's making a considerable amount of money in a town that's not too far different from Wellington. And if you cut this salary back, it leaves us less negotiating room, and not having a pool of candidates yet. I think you stifle us. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Okay, so where we are right now,
Mike,
yes,
I just like to put in my 2 cents on this as well, is that I think that I understand that the bind that this puts the selectmen in hiring a new person, but I think that if we have a flat salary from what it is now, not an increase, not a decrease, flat from where it is now, I think that would be a good budgeting tool here. And I see Erica's being not happy with me saying that, but and I'm not real happy with me saying it, but I have to agree with Stephanie on this.
what is the amount, Stephanie, again?
3,700 is the raise that's plugged into the budget. But, you know, I would hasten to say that not when we're actually in the budget process in Board of Finance, but early in the year, in the upcoming year, like in the fall, there's plenty of evidence in this budget that we have some real pay adjustment issues in several spots. There's at least 4 department heads that have, you know, that are being put forth for, you know, sizable raises because they're out of whack, but we haven't seen the data on how they're out of whack. And I'm thinking that it would be a really good idea to do a pay comparison analysis for at least for our department heads, of course, because, you know, but to make sure we're taking care of them, but also so we can plan for this. So it's not, you know, just in general. I mean, I think it would be a wise thing to do and have us be able to see the data that compares us to other towns. And, you know, and is according to their hours and everything else.
Would you try to remember that for an agenda item in the fall?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's like the decision for it's related to the decision with the tax collector too, because I think that the way we would look at this is how do we step it up and as quickly as we can or as efficiently as we can? You know, like in other words, is it a 2-year program to adjust? Is it, you know, it's just hard to do it from a standstill position, which the Board of Finance has been in this year on this issue. So I see a need for it.
I agree. Stephanie, question for you. You have made a point of doing mill rate comparisons in the past. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, Wellington having been pretty steady for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I, of course, made the speech at the beginning of this about how we have to think about, we do have to be growing to some extent, otherwise we're going to hit a steep we're gonna hit an upward cliff. Do you have any wisdom to offer there on mill rate?
Yeah, just that I think we're the lowest in the towns that we compared to find my little cheat sheet. But we have not raised it in 6 years. And it was flat at 30.09. And then
that Bergeron?
what?
I think that
Oh,
was
someone unmuted.
that was a miscellaneous utterance.
And then there was this fiscal year, we took it down like 1/10 of a point. And it, so it came down to 29.99. Before that, it was 30.09 for the 5 years preceding. So it's been flat, down a tiny bit this year. So we haven't had growth, and yeah, Pete?
Yeah, I'd just like to add a little history to that the reason we brought it down that 1/10 of a point was that our unassigned fund had grown to a point where it was beyond the 12% that's recommended. So that's why we brought it down a percentage there. And also that we had stayed at a flat level for a number of years because we had made a major hike based on bad information from the governor's office on the teacher retirement benefits.
Pete's favorite
unlike
topic.
our surrounding towns, we had appropriated, we had budgeted the money in, even though it didn't turn out that we needed it. And then we stayed at that level, spending that money down for those years. So it's not that we just were flat, it's that we had made a big jump so that's why we could remain flat.
I would agree with that. Okay. So,
Mike, do you want me to share a screen on it, or can I do that, or not?
Erica just backed out of the screen share. You should be able to.
Okay. Let me just see. Talk amongst yourselves.
I know, don't you feel like the time is ticking really loudly when you're trying to do something like that?
Yep. I don't know if this is, I'm trying to see which one would be the easiest for you to see. Did that work?
Yep.
I don't know if there's, do you need a little bigger? Well, too big. How's that?
Sure. It's good.
So you can see that that we're, except for Union, the lowest. And this year, I mean, they went down quite a bit in after 2020. They were higher than us there. But we're lower than everybody pretty much. Or I should say, we're lower than anybody.
This is probably irrelevant, but when I was looking at mill rates, I noticed that Waterbury is 60. I don't understand how that could even work, but.
Wow.
One thing is, I think some of those years where there's a big jump was just from rebel as well. So what when does that hit? Because it's next year, right? But it doesn't hit for another whole year. I
So is it hit in 24 or?
I don't know. I get confused with the fiscal year and the calendar year and then the
The grand
assessment
list year, yeah.
different
Grand
than
list,
both of those. So I can never keep it straight. But I think it's coming, so that's neither here nor there. It's just another data point, but it doesn't actually change people's taxes, but it does change the mill rate number.
Okay.
Want me to stop?
Yeah, why don't you, thank you for that. All right, guys, I need a little direction. Are we gonna discuss any more? Or are we gonna go to the individual motions and start working our way through?
Is there going to be an opportunity to discuss as we go through the motions?
Every motion requires discussion.
Okay,
Hey, it's only 8:30, right? All right, thank you, Erica. On top of it. So I think, if you click to the other sheet on the bottom there, the budget motions, I think these numbers will have transferred over. That's what was supposed to happen.
They're supposed to, Mike, and I think most of them have. It looks like the ambulance grant one, I don't think, that's the only one I tried to look while you all were out.
Okay,
All
all right, so what is that?
59,021 and this sheet shows 528,025.
All right, hang on, I'm gonna write it on my,
They're on the same sheet, so I should be able to bounce back and forth just to double check on those changed ones.
right,
You
let
can
me
look.
just. Okay,
On the
Oh, yeah.
budget motions I had from Donna from March 10th, it says 591,025, but it's reverted again.
No, Donna's spreadsheet is set so that when I make a
Right, I
change
know.
on this, it makes a change on the other.
Yeah,
But that one on this sheet, for whatever reason, did not change.
okay.
okay, but we have the right number, so we can insert.
Correct.
Okay. All right,
so do you want me to,
go ahead.
you want me to do this?
You start with a motion and I'll make a second. Let's get it
All
rolling.
right, I move that we accept the budget request for 0121 probate court for $3,810.
I second
Second.
the motion. All right, Pete, Jeff, somebody did. Okay. All right, any discussion? Okay, Kelsey, let her rip and drink a cup of water because you got a lot of these.
Jeff,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I move that we, oh, do you want to announce votes or do you just want to move on?
Motion passes.
All right, I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0126 election officials for $47,426.
second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Kelsey, you're up.
Stephanie,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item. Things moved here.
131.
I move that we accept the budget request for 0131 Board of Finance for $5,018.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, let's vote, Kelsey.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0132 treasurer for $7,358.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0133 auditor for $42,000.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion?
This has gone up, but it's contractual, is that right?
Well, remember there was a letter from the auditor. I think the previous years were 37 something per year, and we asked for an extension of the contract. And he said because of things such as new federal relief money, ARPA, things like that, there would be added auditing processes that would be required. And so that was the move up from 37 to 42.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0135 Board of Assessment Appeals for $1,407.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0161 Conservation Commission for $1,500.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0171 Planning and Zoning for $135,884.
Any discussion? Oh, we don't have a second yet, do we? I'll second it. Any discussion? All right, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yeah.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0172 Zoning Board of Appeals for $5,041.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion
Oh.
passed. Whoop.
I
all right.
apologize.
I think we're at economic development. The screen's changed there on me.
Listen, when I did that before, you couldn't see it, so I didn't think you could.
It is economic development.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0175 Economic Development for $23,000.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Then let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I
Motion-
move. Oh, do you have to say we passed it?
Yeah, sorry, I was moving slowly there.
That's okay. I am feeling your pain. I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0176 inland wetlands for $2,000.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes. This one we
moving
have
on.
adjustment.
Mike, can I add just 2 cents as I've been sitting here thinking of this, and I really wish Donna were
Yep.
here. The Wellington 1 gives $30,000 in revenue from their cell tower, but I don't believe their budget request for payroll is $30,000 less. So if you adjust this by that $13,000 revenue, you're actually taking the expenditure out. I just want you to think about that.
Yeah, we asked that question last week when we took the $50,000 from Fund 17, and I asked, where do you want to show it? Do you want to show it in revenue adjustments? And she said, no, we want to show it in reducing the ambulance grant. And I said, well, that create a problem because next year we might have to go way up. So it looked like a big percentage increase. She said, no, you just have to remember next year that you might have a big percentage increase because it's an adjustment on revenue.
Okay, I just hope maybe
But
she
sure,
can
it
clear
is
that up
right.
if there's an issue before for the budget hearing, and then you can always make an additional adjustment if she.
Okay. And I mean, if we have to fix, because she's not here, if we have to call an emergency meeting, we'll have to do that.
No, after your hearing, you can make an adjustment to any budget.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So I think
That's
that
right.
allows, I just, it's something I've been thinking about, and I just wanted you to think about it.
Yeah, no, I asked that question last week. I was concerned about where was the right place to show it. So I think the number, Pete, do you have the number?
Which
The
number?
Oh, there it is right there. 528.
528,025.
Yes.
I need to write something down. Hang on.
And what does that include?
That's the ambulance salary.
But yeah, what is it? Tell me what the comparison is to the 591.
That's
Like
the,
what's taken out.
we took out the 50,000 from Fund 17 and the 13,000 from the Town of Union.
Okay.
Or we applied it as revenue, basically.
Mike, may I make a quick comment just as a, the original, if you look at the original budget, it was 631. So I'm just,
Yep.
just trying to figure out how we got down. I get
I
the
think-
63 and the 30, so we're at 93,000. I'm just trying to make sure that the number's right.
I think, right, so the 631 was reduced by 30,000 from the tower, right, which put you at
Yep.
61. And
Yep.
then I think you had applied 10 out of Fund 17 already.
Well, that's what, yeah, that's something Donna usually does all of that. So I'm just trying
Okay,
to
so
make
Donna,
sure.
so Donna did it then. Donna had applied 10 from Fund
So it
17.
would be 60 coming out of Fund 17.
Yes, with the extra
Okay.
50 that we adjusted, right, yep.
Okay.
Yep,
That's still just 93, and if we're at 528, we're still, there's something missing. Because the original budgeted number is 631, 525. After the 30,000, yeah.
okay, so hang on.
Difference
Looks
is
like this-
40,500.
Sorry, I don't want to add any confusion. I just want to make sure it's right.
No,
Oh,
it's
you
probably a
did.
good idea to check the numbers now. So the original number was 631 what?
631, 525.
Right, okay. And then I think, so you had applied 30,000 in tower money, which put you at 601, 525.
Mike,
And what?
it sounds like that's the 591,025 that we're looking at here, plus the Wellington Fire Department one line of 149,610. That gives you the 600 and something, if I'm doing the quick math in my head.
Well, it would, except I don't think that's actually where that number comes from.
Okay, sorry.
It's coincidentally similar. So we were at 601, 525, and then I thought Donna had applied 10,000 from Fund 17, which would put you at 591, 525. So there's $500 discrepancy there. So then I'd have to assume she applied 10.5. Otherwise, it doesn't make
No,
sense.
no, that's why I think it was the 591. Yeah.
Unless you think 591,025 is an error and it should have been 25.
I think there was an error because it should have been 30. Yeah, the 591, 525 would have been the 30,000 from the tower and then the 10 out of Fund 17.
Okay. So,
so that brings it down to the 591, and then if you add the 50,000.
So the amount really should be 528, 525 in the, right in column H. I gotta be, yeah, negative. Okay, so that'll give us the right end number, and then if we have, after the public hearing, we can make adjustments to correct it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make a note with my Donna questions. All right, Pete, do you have your number now? 528, 525?
So, under emergency services, I am moved to accept the budget request for line item 0221 ambulance grant for $528,535.
Isn't it 525?
Yeah, 525.
525, sorry, not 535. I wrote it down wrong.
528, 525.
Right, correct. My motion is amended as whatever, friendly amendment,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Don't want to change this here?
Da-
Or not?
Jeff, did you have discussion?
We're not going to change it on the thing, on the actual motion?
Well, it'll be in the minutes.
Okay. Well, no, it'd be easier for Kelsey to, you know, extrapolate this, that's all.
Everything went away. Oh, there it goes.
Go ahead.
I have a paper record of this. This is just for show
All right,
purposes.
fine. Call
For
the
me
vote.
to read off. Oh, have we voted yet?
Okay, all right, are we done with discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe, Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
So should that show the correct figure on this document or not?
No, that's what we just talked about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Erica's writing it down.
All right.
All right. things moved, so I'm hoping I'm on the right line. I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0231 fire marshal for $26,515.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0232 fire protection for $318,870.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, so what, that went up some, is that fuel too? Because I have it as 316,470.
That is the combination of the two fire departments and the heating oil adjustment.
Thanks.
Is the and the looks like the dispatch fees are included in that also. Looking at the screen now. Thank you for that, Erica. More discussion. Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0234 emergency management director for $7,047.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0512 Parks and Rec for $96,522.
That is the correct number.
I believe so. Let's 512. 96522 according to my sheet. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
No,
Jeff, Jeff,
Here, yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
move to accept the budget request for line item 0517 library for $244,594.
I'll second that. Discussion.
Can you hang on just 1 second?
Yep.
That's an 8.7% increase over last year, which is above inflation. That's, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for waiting.
Okay. Any more discussion, questions?
excuse me, Erica, could you bring the other worksheet back up, please? Thank you.
What's it?
Uh,
That number differs? No, it's the same.
Where am I at here? I'm not seeing the library. Thank you.
Transfer out to library.
The only question I have is if we are going to tweak numbers, should we be approving some of the larger budgets right now? I don't know.
I think that was what Pete talked about at the beginning, is we should go through, if we have something that's gonna have extensive debate, we may wanna table it till the end of the list. Or if the debate is not that long, we should just do it now and keep rolling in order, I guess.
Okay.
Do we have debate? Do we have thoughts on it?
I have a thought. I don't think it's a popular thought, but I'd like to hold that at 7.5%. I haven't done the math.
All right, what's the consensus? Do we want to table this one or do we want to go to a vote?
Can we see what the 7.5% would do to the budget?
I'll see if I can do some quick math.
And forgive me, I'm on my phone and I use my phone as my calculator, so.
Joe, I feel your pain.
Besides the fact that that's hard math, to do. I don't like the idea of making a cut just on a percentage basis unless we have an idea of what it's gonna do. And
We're concerned about.
yeah.
Christina, I haven't been recognized by the chair, but I'm going to keep talking anyway.
Go ahead.
I understand your concern on that cutting by a raw percentage like that. But with the way that the budget was proposed to us by the library, where it didn't seem to me that a huge amount of preparation had gone into theirs other than just adding salaries and, up and up. So that I didn't get the impression that, personally, I didn't get the impression that the increase was as well thought out as maybe it should be. I think that if they were constrained a little bit, that it would focus their thinking. That's all.
The difference, I mean, to Joe's point, is that they're asking for an increase of 19,594. That produces the 8.7% growth. At 7.5%, it would increase at 16,875.
And the differences between those two numbers, Stephanie? I'm sorry, I don't do math real fast in my head.
Okay.
I don't do my math real fast with a calculator either, so I don't know why I added that in.
$2,719.
I can easily see that cut here on their budget in a few areas.
Okay. Right now we have a motion and a second for the number that's on the screen. The 244,594. So we would need to, I guess we would need to vote it down or make a friendly amendment.
I'm willing to take the friendly amendment. What's the new number, Stephanie?
Sorry about that. You know? Uh, 16,875. Wait a second. So the total would be 241,875.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to that, the number that Stephanie just gave us. What was it, 261,875?
241,875.
241,875.
I'll second that.
How much are you taking off, Steph, so I can fill this
It
out?
would be 2,719.
Wow.
Oh, wait, no, that was the difference. The,
Yeah,
oh,
Yep,
did
that's
you say
right.
how much it would be reduced?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I think
And-
that's right.
And it came out exactly the same numbers you gave us before.
I think it's right, yeah.
So I amend that line item to $241,875.
And Jeff seconded the friendly amendment.
Yep.
So right now, our motion is to approve it with this latest adjustment at 241,875. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'm just doing the calculating here, so, but I agree with Christina's point that I don't know what's behind the increase, and I know that they're, in a sort of a reorganizational mode. So I'm, concerned about not having that answer or that discussion.
But I do want to recognize that I think this is the second year in a row of a pretty major increase. And I
Yes.
don't,
I think it was more like 20 last year, wasn't it?
yeah, I just remember it was a lot. And so I don't know if we should think about talking with the library more in depth in the fall as well, when in just the context of staffing and all of that, or what if there's other costs too that maybe need a more phased approach? Because my sense is that this isn't the end of it, but I don't have a sense of what the whole plan is, so.
I do know that they have some minimum wage impact.
Yes.
Christine, I agree with you that on the not knowing some of the stuff, and that's part of the reason that I reduced it to the last number I heard for inflation is that I don't get a good sense of why it went up that much. Plus you're correct. Last year it was a significant jump.
It was about 30,000 last year.
Okay.
It's a trend, but it's not sustainable. So,
Correct.
yeah.
I'm going to see if I can see last year's here. If I cut it out of the. Yeah, I can't see the, I cut out the previous years from the sheet I printed to make space on the paper. So. Oh, here we go. We're going to find it.
Mike, I have the sheet in front of me if you need the numbers.
Yeah, it's on the screen too.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, there's the 35,000 that Joe mentioned. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any more discussion on this motion? All right, Kelsey, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes. Sorry. I was looking at the already.
I fully understand. I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0111 selectmen for $159,976.
Can I get a second?
Second,
Okay, thank you. All right, discussion on the motion. All right, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0130 accounting services for $274,127.
Get a second on that?
I'll second.
Second.
All right, discussion on the motion. Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0134 assessor for $134,994.
Second.
Okay, I have one item of discussion on this. When I had the opportunity to talk to Erica yesterday, I went over again, I knew she had explained it in meetings previously, but I went over again, you know, what a lot of this increase is made up for this, and it is only, the major increase here is that the benefits that would normally show up in a different place in the town budget would now have to be carried in the assessor's budget because of the shared services contracting that would be done in this. So it does look like a big percentage jump in this budget, but it's not an overall jump across the entire budget because it's moving the benefits into this one. The actual difference in, if you account for that, is only about $800 more compared to if you had the previous configuration and accounted for the benefits from another budget line. Does that make sense to people? It makes sense in my head. I don't know if it does to you guys. Okay, any questions, thoughts? All right, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget. Whoa, wait, things are moving in front of my eyes here. Is this the correct number?
Yes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0137 revenue collector for $89,608.
Second,
Okay, we spent a good bit of time discussing this. Any more discussion?
My only question is, of the pay adjustments that we're doing in this budget, and I know that they're not matched up. I mean, you know, they're not the same percentage increase. Is this a fair cut based on what some of the other pay adjustments that we're agreeing to are?
Well,
I'm just asking it. I'm not.
Doing some sort of thumbnail math. If you look at, and I think the revenue collector made a good point earlier that She believed that some of this is also a required step up that when she completes her certification. So it's a mix of raise and step up and some recalibration because of just trying to get the salary to a comparable place. So considering all of those things, to me, 10% seems reasonable for this year's jump. The job might deserve the 22.8%, but I just can't. In my mind, I can't vote yes for a 22.8% salary jump.
Mike,
What?
I believe that most of the employees are making less than a 3% jump. So to Stephanie's question as to whether this is in line with the other ones, because of the qualifications jump, that's what would cause it to be about 3 times higher, 3.5 times higher than the rest of the town. I don't think we're ready to go to 7 times the rest of the town, so as far as salary jump. Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
You think the 10% does that?
10% jumps it up about 3.5 times what the rest of the town is getting in a salary increase. So it at 22%, it would be like 15 times as much as anybody else is getting in a pay raise. So I think 10% is significant, and I think it's fair based on the qualification increase.
I'm eager to see if the town does do a pay analysis on its top jobs, like this is one. I'm eager to see if there's a year or two response to this proposal. I'm just saying that.
Okay, any more discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0141, town council for $32,000.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0151, town clerk for $112,611.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0181, town office operations for $262,703.
Second. Discussion. Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line you're doing it.
You're so easily disturbed, Pete.
Yeah, I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0182, town hall operations for $7,978.
Second.
All right, discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I'm just doing it to mess with you now, Peter.
I know that. I knew you were doing that because I was having problems.
I'm just trying to keep up with it.
You want to really get someone,
Hold it still
Erica?
for a while.
It keeps him paying attention though, doesn't it?
Yeah, zoom it in or out. That'll really get him.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0183 consulting engineers for $20,000.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0185 senior center operation for $39,714.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes. Is this the one that includes the painting in the parking lot and something else, which is
Heating oil.
causing the increase?
I believe there's a pavement repair and some line striping for the small section of the parking lot that belongs to the senior center.
Thank
The,
you.
the maintenance is 3,000. And the heating oil is 2,400 plus.
That's right. Any more discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move to accept the budget request for line item 0233 Health District for $32,573.
Second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0235 fire main and hydrants for $8,626.
Second. Any discussion?
No, I just wanted to ask one question. So is fire protection in another place?
Fire protection was earlier.
Oh,
O2
in the transfer. Okay, because in the budgets, it falls before this. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the way this motion packet is set up, it's not all in chronological order of the departments, which kind of messes me up. They're grouped by types that Donna sees as being important for how she plans the budget. But it throws us off because we look at the budget in numerical order.
They're actually in numerical order by budget.
Well, yes.
You get to the selectmen's budget. The rest of the fire is not in the selectmen's budget. This one is in the middle of the selectmen's budget.
Right. Yes.
Thanks.
That's what I meant. Okay, any other discussion? Let's vote on fire mains and hydrants.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
No.
Jeff,
So this one's for you, Bob. No.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passed.
Can I just hear about the contrarians?
I'll
I wasn't
pass
even
along
gonna
your
bring it-
sentiments, Jeff.
I wasn't
Yeah,
even gonna
that's
bring it up.
exactly why I was voting no, was, you know.
But Jeff
I
always
was-
votes no for him.
I was thinking of Bob, but I wasn't gonna bring it up. So, well done, guys.
Too, me too.
Motion passes anyway.
Okay,
Okay,
like I wasn't
um,
invited to the party.
We'll fill you in later.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0241, building officials for $51,553.
Second. Discussion. Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yeah,
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0311, Public Works for $1,342,057.
second.
Discussion.
does that include the change? Or do we not do it?
What change are you referring to, Stephanie?
The raise?
We just talked about it. We didn't make any decisions.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Discussion.
Yeah, this is a 9.1% increase as I see it here on the sheets that you gave us today. Is that correct?
Yes, keep in mind, there's a lot of fuel increase in that because this budget also carries the fire department's apparatus fuel, all the diesel for the fire departments.
Understood.
That is part of it.
Actually, I have it as a 10.6%.
All right, well, let's go to the score sheets here. Pete, you were looking at 9.1. That's
Oh,
a,
I didn't look at the
Gotta go.
total. I'm sorry.
yeah, you gotta go further down.
Yep,
Come on, Pete.
sorry about that. I missed the snow.
Yeah, so just keep in mind that $23,000 of that increase alone is just increased diesel fuel.
Yeah, we have a chip seal increase of 1,350% too.
Well,
Yeah,
he's got a lot of oil-based products, right?
yeah,
It's not really an increase, Peter. There's some line items that were combined as we restructured the road
Oh.
maintenance line items.
Okay. Is that why asphalt went down?
Yes,
Thank you.
you see two items at zero. So we trued up this, the budgeting in this department.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
it's referred to as a truing up, Pete, not an increase.
Ah. Point taken. How much would it be without that that increase, the salary increase? I don't think that makes
The
much of a
salary
dent.
increase
It
was
doesn't-
3,700.
Yeah,
it
yeah, it's not
doesn't,
gonna make a,
no. Any more discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
yes,
Jeff,
Yes,
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
Erica, can you flip us to the other one? Notice I say flip us to the other one, not just flip us off.
Flip us on.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0342 cemetery for $2,000.
Second.
Jeff, yeah, you need to second that one. Any discussion?
Greatest bargain in the whole budget.
Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
We'd like to move that we accept the budget request for line item 0351 transfer station for $290,055.
Second. Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I'd like to move that we accept the budget request for line item 0503 capital projects for $1,000.
Second.
Discussion?
Where's that in the budget?
Go again?
I just wondered where it falls, what it is. What is it?
It's in my budget. I should have a clear answer for you. It's, I believe this is just a pass-through with senior center money, but it's not in the senior center budget.
Okay,
I apologize.
that's
Give me
okay.
any other number, I got you. That one every year I question. It's a pass-through amount.
It might be truing something. Okay, any more discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
We lost Christina.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes. Pete, you're up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move to accept the budget request for line item 0504 capital reserve for $245,923.
345, right?
Nope, nope, we
Oh, we
adjust.
took it out?
Yep. That was the dump truck adjustment.
Excuse me.
So
Sorry.
I think I said 245,923 and
You
we're
did.
looking for a second.
Yes.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move to accept the budget request for line item 0507 Housing Authority for $2,182.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0510 accrued sick days for $0.
Second.
This might be the best deal in the budget, Jeff.
I think we ought to reduce it.
Make it give us back money.
Yeah.
Got a couple of those coming up, so.
All right, any discussion on this? How about we vote?
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0511 dog fund for $26,835.
Second.
Discussion?
I think the bark that I heard in the background was appropriate.
That was good timing. Yeah, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Same motion passes.
Yes, sorry, motion passes.
All right. I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0513 human services for $54,927.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
I move. You guys say motion passes.
Passes, sorry.
That's fine. I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0515 open space for $0.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0518 emergency preparedness for $0.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
I'm gonna say yes, but it doesn't sound right.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0811 social security for $88,552.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0821 unemployment for $1,000.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0831 employee insurances for $273,191.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0841 pension for $43,559.
Second, and I would just like to point out that you guys will hopefully like to know that this is a 21.5% decrease,
And why is that?
just because it is.
It's down in the simple IRA match and also in the pension funding.
Some of
It
it
may be,
is-
go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, some of it is the current census, and some of it is that there are fewer folks who have the pension. And so as some have retired and left. But it's all about census of.
And stop looking a gift horse in the mouth.
It's just truing it up. We trued it up. Just
We're
trued
truing it up.
Just trued it down.
Truing it down, truing it down.
It goes both ways.
Okay, let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept budget request for line item 0851 insurances for $92,330.
Second.
This is also down.
Yes. I didn't want to bring it up again because it caused such disarray when I
I
brought it up.
know.
Any more discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0871 miscellaneous for $2,000.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Christine or Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0910 debt services for $198,408.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to make sure that this is the right number, but, I need my CIP.
You
Just
need your
mine.
what? Oh,
I need my CIP, just to make sure that, I guess we weren't buying anything on a lease in the next year's budget, so there shouldn't be anything in there additional, right?
I can't remember.
Right, yeah, I don't think we added anything. It would be a lease payment.
All right,
I think it's fine. I just meant to pick it up. It looks right, from what I remember.
At 9:33 PM, it's right.
Yes,
I have a note to check it afterwards. If we have to adjust after the hearing, we can fix it.
okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move that we accept the budget request for line item 0930 capital expenditures for $80,000.
Second.
Discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
this is where we need Erica to move up a little bit.
It's time to scare Pete and scroll the screen.
Scroll the screen. Oh. We're getting into the big stuff here. I move to accept the budget request for line item 0861 Board of Finance contingency for $0.
Second.
Discussion?
The only reason I'm voting for $0 on this is because we moved to $350,000 earlier.
Gotcha. Any other discussion? Let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion passes.
I move to accept the budget request for the Board of Education for $9,074,681.
Second,
Discussion?
Yep. What do we have in our, what is our current balance in the, I'm blanking on it now, the
lapsing.
Non-lapsing.
non-lapsing?
fund.
I don't remember the number. I think it's capped at a certain number percentage wise, maybe like a 2% or something like that. But that's, we don't, I mean, I'm sure you can see it somewhere in the budget, but we don't see it in this budget because it's
Right,
kept
because
money, basically, it's a
we
fund.
can't spend that money.
Hmm.
The thing that I hear every year from the Board of Education is that we return money to the they return money to the non-lapsing fund. The other thing I hear continuously from the Board of Education is that once we appropriate the money, we have no say over how it's spent. Both those statements, I believe, are true. I
Yes,
think that this line here includes a fuel increase. I'm guessing there's a fuel oil increase, and that's worked into the 1.3%.
yes,
That's right. They locked in lower.
They locked in lower. However, that is an increase because of world events. That I am hoping is a temporary increase. I'm hoping the fuel oil doesn't stay at $5 a gallon forever. God forbid.
yeah,
However, if we work that fuel oil increase into this budget request, that affects our MBR forever. So we're paying for that fuel oil increase, whether fuel oil goes up or down forever. I would like to see a slight decrease in this line item. And if the Board of Education needs money from the non-lapsing fund, that would be where they would request it from. But because we don't see the non-lapsing fund, I don't know what that decrease can be. Also, we don't want to wipe out the non-lapsing fund because that's where they go for emergency money for special ed.
Right.
I would like to see this held at 1% increase.
Mike, can I chime in?
I yield.
Right?
hang on a second, I got a lot of, who was that? Was that Phil?
Yeah, sorry, I'm sick,
Go
so
ahead.
I sound terrible, but
No, that's okay. I have, because of the screen share, I can only see 5 tiles at a time.
so the non-lapsing fund is pretty much capped out. It's like around 250,000 right now. And the board is taking 50,000 in this budget to to bring it down to that 9,074,000. So they already applied $50,000 in non-lapsing fund to this budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stephanie, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, the reason that this, the main reason this budget broke, in our favor as far as percentage increase, especially with a huge oil increase, is because of the way, the number of special ed cases, which are lower, this, just it jumped in our favor. I feel like it's not that this would be, given that, probably a low MBR anyway. Because it's an unusually low number. And that was, that took us down like 3 percentage points or something like
Right.
that.
But it's down 3 percentage points from where we were, but it's still up 1.3% from where we were. So it's an increase in the MBR, even though it's not as big an increase in the MBR. So I understand that, and thank you, Phil, for filling us in on that $50,000. I'd like to see that number a little bit higher, just so that we're not saddled with this MBR forever. Particularly considering we've had a percentage drop in the number of students, and we're now going for a percentage increase in the budget. Those numbers are going in opposite directions. And I don't think fuel oil should be adding into our MBR forever. It's just my consideration. And so I'd say drop this to a 1% increase, which would be I'm sorry, I don't have the math here. Probably a $100,000 increase over last year, something like that. Can somebody do the math for me? I'm sorry.
I don't know what last year's I don't know what the previous figure was.
The previous figure.
So yeah, so his numbers are right. It's 112,672 increase right now. So it's 1126, which equals 1.3. So it's almost exactly dollar per percent.
Yeah.
Well, $1,000 per percent, but whatever.
Right. So if we drop that number by $3,000.
Now, what you're saying, Pete, is you would want to drop 12,600 off of it to get us down to about a 1 or 1.1% increase. That's
correct. What's the new number?
Hang on.
Sorry. I should be doing the math myself instead of whipping at you.
Yeah, you with your big ideas. So to make numbers easy, if the request was 9,062,000 even.
Sure.
That's the number you're looking for.
Right. So.
Do you think 12,000 is the amount that this fuel increase, like the delta between what we normally would have paid and what it is now?
It's probably closer to 24, seeing as how it was about $3 a gallon. Now it's about 5. I'm guessing we go through about 24,000 gallons, but I 2,400 gallons. I don't know. That's my shot in the dark guess.
Can I share, we're not paying, this budget does not have $5 a gallon for any fuel. It's either $2.94 or $2.97.
So it's
Well,
already
then-
low. That's what I was just gonna say.
Right, it's not $5 a gallon. We locked in at $2.94 and $2.97 for heating and diesel.
And we were at 160 something? If I remember correctly.
We're at 163, 164, and we budgeted originally for $2.50.
I think that they still, given the fuel cost increases and the number of students that we're losing, that I'd like to see that come down to 1%. And I do believe that we would approve a non-lapsing fund transfer.
But that's not really under our jurisdiction, is it?
No. It's not.
Don't we approve non-lapsing fund transfers back to
So,
the
well,
Board of Ed?
So the answer
How they
is,
spend it is up to them, but we approve the,
we approve the transfer into the non-lapsing fund.
okay,
We can't say how to spend it.
no, I think that was one of my first points there, Stephanie, is at no point do we get to tell them how to spend their money.
I believe the fuel increase is 75,000 this year between buses and heating fuel.
75,000? Wow, that hurts. It's a good thing you guys locked when you did. That was prudent.
Phil,
We had a really great deal last year, so it exacerbates the increase because we locked in right in 2020, well ahead, so.
Right, heating fuel went from, we budgeted 50,000 for 21, 22, and we're budgeting 102,000 for heating oil for 22, 23. So that alone is the 52,000, and then the remainder of the difference is for transportation fuel.
so Phil, can I ask you, did the board deliberate on the budget, knowing just the, the current events with, like, just with the timing of this? And maybe, I think Pete has a valid point that hopefully these prices will come down next year, and now we've sort of set the bar at a higher level. I'm just wondering, like, if they thought about that or factored that in when they were thinking about how much to take from the other fund.
This is the first year that they've ever taken, we've offset the budget with non-lapsing funds. So it's the first year they've ever pulled 50,000. And they really did that because we thought we were gonna have 3 outplacements. But now with it's only 2, but they didn't change that 50,000. They still have it there. The bulk of the increase is between the fuel and, I mean, honestly, is people. When you have a 2.75% increase across multiple contracts, and that's the majority of your budget, we're lucky we're coming in where we are, because really the supply portion of this budget is minimal. It's really the people that are the cost.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for reminding me, and is that the other thing that I understood in the increase here was that 97% of your budget is based on contractual obligations. And the only contractual obligation that I see that you have any control over is, or the Board of Ed has any control over, you'd have no control over this, is teacher budgets. And that contract there is a budget that the Board of Ed has control over and has decided to increase. Where I assume that they thought that we were gonna go to a budget increase to cover that, and I don't think they took into account whereas the Board of Finance has to take into account the taxpayer. I don't think the Board of Ed does that balance. So that's why I'm looking for a cut here, and Nobody wants to cut education. Nobody. But we don't want to set that MBR bar higher. That's my chief concern here.
I just feel like we're splitting hairs though with a 1.3% increase, given everything they're juggling and, messing with the percentages on payroll is,
Right.
that's what I'm understanding is going to, is not, that's just putting it off.
No, what I'm saying is that we have no control over how they spend it. And so that 2.75% increase in salary is not anything that we can control. We can control, or the Board of Ed can control now that they've signed a contract. It's just that I think that should have been a consideration, and I don't get the feeling that it was. That may be an incorrect feeling. I understand that. And at 1.3%, I understand that that's a small percentage, but in a $9 million budget, that's a large dollar figure. So at the very beginning of this 2 or 3 meetings ago, or maybe last meeting, because my memory is unfortunately not what it should be. I said that there was large budgets with small increases that meant large dollars, and small budgets with large percentage increases that meant small dollars, and that we should be taking both of those into account. So I have some issue with this $9 million budget, seeing as how 20 years ago this was a $4 million budget, and we're seeing an increase every year, even though we're seeing a student population drop every year, and I'd like to cap this at some point. So at 974 or whatever we're at, hold on just a minute, I would have to vote no. I think I could go in at a flat at 9,025,000 without too much issue, and some kind of assurance from this board that from what I understand, we don't have any control over the non-lapsing fund going over. So I see where the Board of Ed could make themselves whole.
Other discussion?
Well, it would be about a $27,000 cut if we took it down to 1%, right? Is that your number?
Yeah, I think that would be I'm still not happy at 1, but I could live with 1.
I think it would be a $13,000 cut.
Okay. 0.3%, which would take the 3 off of 9 million, and that's a rounded number, is 27,000. I just don't, I want to make sure that we got the math straight on this, and he's talking about bringing it down to 9,025,000, which is almost a $50,000 cut. I just feel like I'm uncomfortable with this, because I know what it gets down to in the school budget. What's left? It's a tight budget, and the fuel is representing a lot of it. I just I know what it's going to get down to. It's going to get down to the little things like supplies in the classroom that are necessary for science experiments, or
Correct.
a book budget, things like
Correct.
that. I think that's. I don't know why we need to, Pete, come on. I don't know why we need to elicit that level of pain to make this point. It's just not, well.
Stephanie, I agree with you. I don't think it's eliciting a point of pain, however, because they have that money in the non-lapsing fund. They can make up that money from the non-lapsing fund. And every year they return money to us. So, given those two facts, I don't think that it's eliciting pain. I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that our MBR doesn't increase every single year. That's where I'm concerned.
But we're in essence dictating that they use it out of their non-lapsing when we have no jurisdiction over that.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
I don't like
But-
that. Squeeze play.
The squeeze, the other squeeze play is that our MBR goes up by significant numbers of dollars, not significant percentage points, significant numbers of dollars. And then that 1% grows next year because our significant number of dollars has grown again. Our MBR is only on an upward projectile. We cannot spend less than our MBR. We have to make sure that we keep track of that number. And if they're returning dollars and we're increasing our MBR, that's not a good plan in my mind.
Okay, other discussion points, other members? Any more discussion? Okay, so our vote will be on the original motion as it was made, which the amount that was submitted as a request. So let's vote.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Joe,
Joe, we
Joe?
can't hear you.
I didn't speak yet.
Oh, okay. That would explain why we didn't hear you.
I'm gonna vote yes.
Christina,
I'm just a little confused. It's the original, it's not an amended number. that we
It's
were
the
talking-
original requested amount that the motion was started with.
All right, yeah, I'll vote yes.
Peter,
No,
Jeff,
No,
Mike,
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, is that everything?
gotta hand it to you, Mike. I didn't think you'd be able to do it.
Vote yes for the education budget, you mean?
No, I may get through all these in one night before midnight.
Appropriations.
Yeah, and it's not even midnight. It's not even 10 yet. Okay, so where are we again? Final numbers here? Okay. All right, so Erica, you're gonna make sure to save this work, correct?
I'm gonna do my best. I apologize. We lost everything here, which is why I got kicked out and the screen share stopped. So
Oh.
I'm hoping what we did is saved here, but I've taken pictures of the screen and I have a paper copy. So we'll have
Okay.
everything so that we can move to the next step.
And we'll have the YouTube video if we have to reconstruct it.
Correct. Technology's great till it's not.
Erica, I took notes if you need a comparison.
Thank you. I did write everything. You can't see the text, but I printed out the motions and then have it all handwritten. And Kelsey has a record as well.
Okay, have we completed, we have completed allocations. That's all the motions. We do not have any new business on the agenda. Correspondence, everybody has it. And we're back to present to speak. So we'll take the waivers. Lori Semperban.
Hi, first I want to thank everybody for all their hard work. I know this takes a lot of time and effort. I have a couple of comments about the budget. That small amount, Pete, that you wanted to reduce and have them take out of the non-lapsing fund. The budget's going to increase next year with salaries and everything else. It's not going to be exactly the same. So that small amount would not have made that much difference. And I'm really frustrated, although I also don't want to see my taxes go up, but I'm really frustrated with some of the salary issues. You know, I think that was a factor losing Public Works. I think it's been a factor in the past and we've lost other people. I know we're a small town, but I believe that that's one of the major issues of why we're losing good people. And if we don't give increases to those who are doing a really good job, just to make it fair, when they put in a large increase and they give you legitimate reasons, I think we have to consider that. And again, I know we all don't want to see taxes go up, but I think one of the reasons we have, or the primary reason why we have turnover, people like working in the town office building. They have good experiences there. They have friends there, but I think they just can't, justify staying when they know they can make a lot more money going elsewhere across town line to the next town or whatever. And I know it's hard because we're a small town and, it's frustrating, but thank you for your time.
Any other present to speak? If you're on video, wave your hand. If you are not, then please unmute and call out your name. I'm not seeing anybody. Okay, moving on to good and welfare. Reminder, the budget hearing is April 5th. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, the recent news in the last few days is that Troy, our Public Works Director, is leaving for a job in another town. And I know it's probably hard for him to imagine working with this group, that we, would be sitting here also saying how much we like working with him and how good a job he's done, because I know he feels that we've been tough to work with, and I respect him for feeling that way. But I also, regardless of how we deal with the budget, I do think that all the feedback I've gotten from everybody in town and my experiences with Troy is he has been great to work with. So I am sad to see him go, and I can only hope that the next person we get is, well, I'll hope they're just as good, but I guess we're going to have to see. And I just want Troy to know that he will be missed. Anything else for good and welfare?
Do
Yes.
we know how the format's going to go for the hearing? Oh, my favorite topic here, Mike.
Oh, you mean as far as in person? I was talking with Erica about that, and I think we would probably be expecting to do hybrid for that. We can't eliminate the online portion yet, and it may, we can eliminate the online portion.
It's solely the choice of the board. Your board determines which method you have. So it's up
I
to you
thought
whether
that-
you,
All right, maybe I misunderstood what
town
the,
meeting's the only thing where we're limited.
okay, all right, I'm sorry.
Every
Okay.
board gets to choose the manner in which, whether they're fully in person, fully remote, or hybrid.
Okay, so the public hearing, we could go to full we could go as Erica just said, but I would imagine hybrid would be our best option, because it'll allow them who want to be in person to be there, and it'll allow people who don't have the opportunity or don't want to be in person access to our proceedings, which, as hard as it was to start 2 years ago, I think has been very valuable. So that's my feeling. And we had already as a board decided that we could do hybrid, so I think we should expect to start doing hybrid again. Now that, we had tried earlier this year to do it, and it was complicated because it was difficult with mask requirements and having people hear you on the microphone while you were wearing a mask. But now that we're able to be in the town office building and other buildings in town without a mask, it does make the audio a little bit better for the hybrid meetings. So I think that's the direction we should be going. Okay. Anything else for good and welfare?
Can I just clarify? So you want, we have to notice the wheres and the wet house. So if you want to be hybrid, we need to know now.
Yes. Yep. This board had already voted to be in hybrid. We just have been holding back the last few months because it wasn't working. So
We will notice it as a,
I think we should notice it. Yes.
thank you.
Do you want me to confer with you tomorrow on the agenda? Are you all set?
It's not, the agenda is just a public hearing, so we will take care of all the, Tish will be working on the legal notice. One of the things we have to add is the place and time of the meeting. So we'll add the Zoom link, the place
Okay.
and the time.
So last year I created the agenda for the hearing. Do you want me to do that? That's why I said, do you want me to consult with you? Do you want, I don't care.
So the agenda has nothing to do with the legal notice that we put in.
Okay.
So I would say any agenda is still on you. The legal notice, which has the financial figures, comes from the finance office.
Okay.
That just has to have the time and place of the meeting.
Okay. So we're
You do
gonna
legal notice, you do
common
agenda.
room.
Yep.
Yes, so we're gonna do the common room on the 5th, 7 PM. Yes, okay. Excellent. All right, Pete.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I have one more thing on good and welfare.
Oh.
I'd like to thank you, Mike, for making this as painless as humanly possible. Although it's a bit like a torture chamber, it's painless as humanly possible. And I think
Pete, I just want to respond to that. I'm about to take my finals in group dynamics. And I know from this class now that this was not my effort, it was all of our effort. This is a group effort.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
My professor will be glad to hear me say that.
Anyways, I move to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor of adjournment, wave and say goodbye.
Ah.
Bye.
That looks unanimous. Good night.